Go to God for help. If you are going through depression or alcohol addiction or porn addiction, for crying out loud, go to God for help. Welcome back to the Junior Mints podcast. This podcast is here to help you guys navigate this crazy thing called life while helping you guys do your best to have fun at the same time. My name is Finn Lawler. I'm your host. Today's topic is all about addictions and how to overcome them and how to, cope with them. So let's dive in. So let's be real. Addictions can be tough. It's not a walk in the park. In fact, it never, ever is. There are positive addictions, and of course, there are the negative ones. We're going to be talking about the more negative addictions and, how to cope with them and how to free yourself from them. There are different addictions that people face. Some of the most common ones include drugs, alcohol, pornography, sex, and there are a bunch of others. But those are the top four, the most common four that people struggle with, including myself. I've struggled with a couple of these, and I'll say this from experience. It is not a walk in the park to overcome these. Of course not. It took work, and it takes work consistently. So anyway, as someone who has dealt with addictions from these categories, I'll say a lot of work, and let me emphasize this one more time, a lot of work is required for you to overcome them. Easier said than done. Way easier. So just really commit to overcoming these addictions, and your life will be infinitely better. So the first and best way to overcome an addiction, I think, is simply admitting that you have an addiction to that thing. By admitting it, our brains subconsciously become more aware that we have a problem, and that said problem is ruining our lives. It's a small subconscious awareness, but it plants the seed, like the smallest seed, and the process of overcoming begins. Whether you realize it or not, that seed is in the back of your mind. Trust me on this one. When you admit something that, like if you have like a porn addiction and you admit that to somebody, subconsciously in the back of your mind, you start to think like, oh, I do have a problem with this or whatever, and it starts to be like, you know what? How can we get out of this? Trust me, I'm just speaking from experience. I'm not making this up. It actually works. So the next best way to overcome an addiction, and I think is also a great way, all of these are great ways, but the next best way is to seek help. You could seek help from a friend, a therapist, your parents, God, for crying out loud. Whichever one you choose, go and seek help. You may not think you need help, but you'd be surprised. Seeking help can make a huge difference. As someone who has struggled with addictions, I've noticed that seeking help has sort of motivated me to quitting whatever I was dealing with at that point, whether it be alcohol, porn, depression, that whole thing. Seeking help for that issue will help you in the long run. It'll make a huge change, like a drastic change. So, quick little sidebar. If you're seeking help and it's not helping, one thing you can always do, and let me just emphasize this, one thing you can always do is go to God for help. Go to God for help. If you are going through depression or alcohol addiction or porn addiction, for crying out loud, go to God for help. Send prayers to Him, dude. Reach out to Him, and He's there for you. Trust me on this one. Trust me. I've noticed that whenever I go to God with anything, one way or another, it helps. It helps me work through it. Sure, it doesn't, automatically cure it right then and there, but it gives me the hope that I'm not alone, and neither are you. So that little sparkle of hope can really make a huge difference, especially when God's on your side. And as I like to say, if God's with you, then who can be against you, right? Think about it. And of course, if you don't believe in any God, which that's fine, I just wanted to sprinkle some Christianity in this podcast and just know that you guys aren't alone in whatever you're facing and that God's on your side. Trust me. Now, you've heard the phrase, too much of a good thing is bad. I agree. This is where moderation comes into play. If you struggle with, I don't know, alcoholism, let's say, one way to maybe work through it is by cutting back on your alcohol consumption. Perhaps you can have one drink instead of 8. I've been there. Moderation is what you need. That's just an example. If you're addicted to something and you're really, really into it and like you're kind of too far gone, quote unquote, one thing that you don't do, and let me just emphasize this, one thing you do not do is stop cold turkey. Quitting something cold turkey can sometimes have a very negative effect on your body because your body is going to notice it's suddenly missing, like that thing you like have been addicted to is suddenly missing, and it could affect your health. It could affect your health in a very serious way. In other words, essentially, what I'm saying is quitting something cold turkey could kill you. Let me just say that one more time. Quitting something cold turkey, potentially, don't quote me on this, not everything, but in other words, quitting something cold turkey could kill you. Like if you've been drinking for years and you just suddenly stop for like a week, it might kill you. Or like cardiac arrest, I don't know. But like just point is here moderation, cutting back, weaning yourself off of it until you are fine without it. Just think about it. Don't quote me on this, by the way. It just happens. I've learned that quitting cold turkey could kill you is just something I've seen. I've never actually like experienced it because I'm still alive, clearly. But moderation in this case is your best friend. Think about it. So when it comes to addictions, we all suffer from it one way or another. Just know that you guys and girls are not alone in this. Join groups, hang out with each other, come together in fellowship. The more you focus on positive things in your life, such as friends, the less you focus on your addictions. So stay positive and keep moving forward. Now, this has been the Junior Mints podcast. Hopefully all that made sense. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you'd enjoyed today's episode all about addictions, please drop a like, subscribe down below, and comment down below and let's talk. Let's start a conversation, right? So anyway, keep your head up, keep moving forward. You got this. Your addiction will disappear. Trust me. Keep your head up, keep digging, keep going, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.